In psychology, there is something called a flashbulb memory. Flashbulb memories are particularly detailed and result from an experience which is emotionally arousing. The experiences could either be something really traumatic or just something that was special to you. For example, you might be able to recall the exact smell of the room when you found out you got accepted to your dream college. There is a particular event that sticks out in my mind, which I can recall in vivid detail, and that's the final few moments of Club Penguin. I remember exactly where I was that fateful day. I logged in an hour or so before it was set to be shut down, waddled around a bit, and played my favorite games for the last time. Once it got down to the last few minutes, I made my way over to the snow forts. My penguin was standing in the bottom right corner of the room, and the screen was so full of penguins that you could barely see the ground. Everyone was dancing, waving, sending out hearts and messages of waddle on and bye everybody. We all watched the clocks in the corners of our screens until an orange box informed us of the death of our beloved game. What struck me about this memory the other day is that I can tell you exactly where I was within the game, but I don't actually know where I was physically. I have no memory of my actual surroundings. This means that my consciousness was entirely within the game, and if my consciousness is myself, I was fully occupying virtual space rather than physical. It's astonishing to think how virtual games like Club Penguin have allowed us to create new space, truly create it. We aren't just modifying space that already exists. Like the edges of the universe, the internet is constantly creating these new spaces for people to occupy. And these spaces are constantly linking each other and linking real-life space together in a web of connections. These linkages, or interdependencies, exist not just within the internet, but in every context of human interaction around the world. In this video, I'll use Club Penguin as a lens to examine these global interdependencies, and I'll focus on the site's role in three aspects: capital, communication, and culture. But first, a little background. Club Penguin was a massively multiplayer online game, or MMO, that allowed users to create their own penguin avatars, play games, earn coins, buy clothes, furniture, and pets, and chat with other players in a snowy island setting. The game was created to be a safe option for kids who wanted to play online, but anyone could sign up. The origins of Club Penguin date back to 1999, when co-founder Lance Priebe had the idea to create a multiplayer penguin-themed flash game called Snow Blasters. Snow Blasters was never finished, but instead developed into Experimental Penguins, which launched in July of 2000. From 2003 to 2005, Priebe, along with a team of developers, created a series of penguin chat games to test Priebe's new Club Penguin project until October 24, 2005, when Club Penguin finally launched. The game grew exponentially. Just 2 years later, Club Penguin had over 12 million active users, and in August of 2007, the game and its parent company, New Horizon Interactive, were acquired by Disney for $350 million. By then, Club Penguin was generating massive revenues, which brings me to my first topic. Club Penguin generated revenue by offering a paid membership to its players, which would grant the player access to more clothes, pets, furniture, and just cooler stuff in general. This model is an example of post-industrial production, which includes the production of information, knowledge, and other non-tangible goods. Historically, the location of natural resources would determine where product value chains were located. With post-industrial models of production, industries are more likely to choose locations based on other available resources, such as skilled labor or tax incentives. Club Penguin was headquartered in Kelowna, British Columbia, which offered many of the benefits of an urban area, such as an international airport and 2 universities. The company later expanded to offices in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Brighton, England. The offices were mostly home to moderators, who ensured users were not breaking Club Penguin rules, but also offered customer assistance services. These buildings already served as hubs for different international divisions of the Walt Disney Company. Their locations were likely chosen for the advantages they offered as urban centers as well. However, all of this isn't to say that the Club Penguin franchise dealt solely in the virtual world. About a year after buying the game, Disney began producing all types of Club Penguin merchandise, from plushies to backpacks to Mancala sets, and even a series of TV specials, which aired on UK and US stations of the Disney Channel. I remember buying this particular comic book at the Scholastic Book Fair. It was pretty good. I had difficulty finding the manufacturers of most of these toys, but I did discover that the Penguin and Puffle plushies were made by a company called Jakks Pacific Inc. The company manufactures all types of toys and children's products and is based in Santa Monica, California. Under the Investor FAQs tab on the Jakks Pacific website, they say that their products are, quote, manufactured in factories all over the world, including China, India, Mexico, and the United States, which is pretty vague. However, I did some more digging and found that, according to the website Import Genius, which uses U.S. Customs records data to display import and export activity, Jakks Pacific receives nearly all of their products from exporters based in Hong Kong. Since 2006, they've received over 8,000 shipping containers from just one Hong Kong-based supplier. To try to conceptualize this wide-reaching value chain, let's follow this little pizza guy on his journey from conception to consumer. The pizza outfit itself comes from the game Pizzatron 3000 within the Club Penguin virtual world, so the original outfit was probably drawn by an artist at the Kelowna office. The toy itself was likely designed by a Jakks Pacific team in Santa Monica, and the designs were then likely sent to a factory in Hong Kong, where Little Pizza Guy was finally brought into existence. From there, he was shipped out in a big metal box from a port like Yanqing, China, to Seattle, Washington. From there, he was likely transported via 18-wheeler to the Jakks Pacific Distribution Center in Walnut, California, and then to a retailer like Walmart, where he'll end up in the hands of some little kid who just spent 20 minutes begging his mom to buy it. A global value chain like this one is only made possible by using the high-speed communication offered by modern ICT, information and communication technology. And of course, Club Penguin itself owes its existence to the internet. As its primary focus was on the chat feature, Club Penguin allowed users from around the world to communicate. Penguins were made in over 190 countries, and the game was offered in 6 languages: English, Portuguese, French, Spanish, German, and Russian. I remember a time I met a kid from Spain while I was playing Club Penguin. I invited them over to my igloo, and we talked about what it was like to live in our countries, differences in school, food, family, vacations, hobbies, everything. It was a unique cultural exchange, and it was a valuable experience that I was able to have as a child through Club Penguin. While I couldn't find any data on Club Penguin account demographics, I would venture to guess that most users were probably concentrated in countries with the greatest internet access. This tends to be developed countries, with many urban economic centers such as Canada, the US, China, South Korea, Brazil, Argentina, and most of Europe. Internet access also differs between urban and rural areas, even within developed countries. Wherever there is an internet desert, it's likely there were little Club Penguin users. So while the site did allow communication between people of different countries, that communication was restricted and flowed unevenly. Communication between users was also restricted literally. As part of the developer's goal to create a safe environment for kids, Club Penguin included an ultimate safe chat mode, which only allowed users to select messages from a list of pre-written phrases. Users could also choose the standard safe chat, which allowed them to type their messages but filtered them automatically for banned terms and phrases. While Club Penguin was active, many suggested that it offered a safe introduction to the internet for preteens, and that it helped them learn literacy and social interaction skills before moving on to social media sites like Facebook. However, others raised concerns over potential developmental issues resulting from a lack of face-to-face interactions, and over remaining safety issues. Players would often find their way around restrictions by using different characters to type banned language, and some potentially harmful words, like weirdo, weren't restricted. To me, the players who found their way around chat restrictions represent our constant effort as human beings to communicate our thoughts to each other in the most accurate way possible. This adaptation also represents a way which Club Penguin players use the site to develop and express their identities. Because it was so widely played, Club Penguin became a defining element of an entire generation's childhood. Kids born in the 90s and early 2000s can remember spending hours helping the EPF catch Herbert the polar bear and earning their black belt in card jitsu. As this generation has grown up, Club Penguin's popularity has resulted in an innumerable amount of memes, TikToks, and parody videos. Some of the most popular include a series of vines created by user Cowbelly, in which he uses an unrestricted server to play out profane situations within the game. Club Penguin itself was the result of a pop culture trend. In the early 2000s, penguins were in. They were everywhere, from movies like Happy Feet, Madagascar, and March of the Penguins, to Coca-Cola commercials, Hallmark cards, and National Geographic campaigns. This article from the New York Times suggested that this sudden obsession with penguins may have resulted from an increasing public awareness about climate change, especially with the release of Al Gore's documentary An Inconvenient Truth. Climate change, as a human-created global phenomenon, is a clear example of the global interdependencies which shape our existence. Regardless, it was out of this penguin mania that Club Penguin was born. With the game's cultural significance, it's no surprise that the news of Club Penguin's end was devastating to many. The news also led to an unforeseen internet trend. On February 19, 2017, YouTube account Button Walls posted a video in which he attempted to speedrun getting banned from Club Penguin for using inappropriate language. His video went viral, and soon after, speedrunners from the Banned from Club Penguin subreddit were competing to see who could get banned the fastest from this doomed children's game. The record belongs to speedrunner Kevin Y, who, with the help of a software tool, was successfully banned in 29.1 seconds. While Club Penguin impacted outside cultures, there was also an extensive culture within the virtual world. The interaction of penguin avatars imitated human interaction in the real world, and thus an entire Club Penguin-specific social order was born. This social order was explored by Jackie Marsh, a researcher at the University of Sheffield. I highly recommend reading her article, which I'll link below. It was personally the most interesting thing I discovered during my research for this video. Marsh found that there were 3 types of capital within the Club Penguin virtual society: economic, social, and cultural. Economic capital was held by those who had a paid membership to Club Penguin, and thus transferred real money into virtual money, and gained the ability to purchase clothes, furniture, and puffles that were not available to free players. The second capital, social, depended on your rank in the social order, which was largely split by membership status. Members were higher in the social caste, and were usually invited to more player-hosted parties. Cultural capital was measured by how much knowledge a player possessed about the game. For example, I, as a non-member, had little economic or social capital, but as someone who played extensively, I had lots of cultural capital. The culture of Club Penguin also included social norms and rituals, like how dancing and repeatedly typing text meant that a player was trying to get everyone's attention, or how if you were on the iceberg and someone said drill, you drilled. Culture defines the way we view the world, and as such, the culture of Club Penguin defined the way we interacted with it. Club Penguin, in addition to being entertaining, also gave kids a space to territorialize, or, in other words, a space to have dominion over and to use to develop their identity. Using clothes and furniture, players were able to customize their penguins and their igloos, which gave them the chance to change their appearance, and thus their identity to other players, easily. Of course, free players had less options for customization, and were thus limited in their ability to territorialize when compared with members. Because it was so easy to change your appearance, and because there was no assigned gender for penguin avatars, Club Penguin also gave children a safe platform with which to experiment with gender expression and sexuality. Users would often play at having romantic relationships. I once remember when my Club Penguin boyfriend caught me in the pizza parlor on a date with another penguin. I ended up losing both of my Club Penguin boyfriends that day. Dating on the site remained mostly between girls and boys, but some players would dress their avatar in either male or female presenting clothes and pretend to be the opposite gender. Whether as an internet trend or a social caste, Club Penguin culture in all of its forms continues to connect me with people from across the world who share a love for this game. However, while this cultural connection transcends space, it does not transcend age, and is unevenly concentrated in regions which have internet access. Confirming the maxim that all good things must come to an end, Club Penguin announced on January 30th, 2017, that the website would be shutting down to let the team focus on a mobile app version of the game, Club Penguin Island. the app would meet its own end the following year. Playable versions of Club Penguin still exist online as Club Penguin private servers, with the help of unlicensed SWF files. Most of these offer free membership to all players, and many even include content that was not featured in the original game. Earlier this year, accusations arose against one of the administrators of Club Penguin Online, one of the most popular private servers, concerning predation and possession of child pornography. Since then, Disney has administered copyright notices to all private servers, and most have been shut down. Club Penguin leaves a legacy of interdependence and connectivity, which exists now 3 years after its end, and will likely persist for many more. Although some nodes of the Club Penguin spatial network have fallen off as offices and web domains no longer exist, others remain. Jakks Pacific Incorporated continues to manufacture toys at an international scale, and its supply chains still resemble what they were in the height of Club Penguin's popularity. While we may no longer chat through the website itself, Club Penguin fans have been able to share their appreciation for the game through social media and online forums. And if the continued flow of memes is any indicator, Club Penguin has left a mark on popular culture. Our generation is likely to carry it with us as we move through the years and look back on this beloved piece of childhood nostalgia.